Have you ever opened the newspaper and just wondered, yeah, no, who still reads newspapers? But do you ever perceive the news anywhere, on your phone, your laptop, your Uber driver's car radio, and think, what is going on in politics? Why did some governments impose strictest lockdown measures during the COVID pandemic and others barely have social distancing in place? What really is a democracy if politicians who don't even know you decide everything? Why the hell does Brexit never end? Why do so many people seem to believe what pictureless profiles with suspicious names and no recognizable qualification tell them about immigration and climate change? And why did Americans ever elect a real estate managing reality show host into the most powerful office of their country? Like, come on, that guy evidently got his public policy directly from those fishy pictureless profiles and their badly edited memes that our friends' parents share on Facebook sometimes. Fox News will tell you it's because the people are fed up with elites, CNN will tell you it's because of fake news, and any European newspaper will tell you that Americans are nuts. For explaining this mess, I would like to suggest a different source: science. Yes, there are scientists who deal with the appeal of real estate managing reality show hosts. I'm talking about political scientists, who'd be very unhappy with the summary of their job.
You're fired.
But what do political scientists do? Let's start at the start, and let's clean up with all the cliches and misconceptions around science. They're mostly got to do with nerds and labs with thick glasses and experiments and white robes and Einstein and the degree of certainty of the results those people arrive at. Science is first and foremost a method, and you can apply it even if you look like this. One particularly influential conception of the scientific method goes back to the philosopher Karl Popper. And it really shows that science is everything but rocket science. It is a way to understand the world, supposedly a more accurate one than others, if you ask scientists. It really starts with looking around us and noticing certain things, and starting to come up with possible explanations and perhaps entire theories on the nature of our world. So if you want to know why people elect populists like our real estate managing reality show host, you might look around and notice that Trump is not the only floppy-haired, loudmouth populist who was elected at the time. And that might lead you to come up with a possible explanation, a theory, why Trump was elected. For example, some scientists think populists get more votes these days because many working-class people have lost money and jobs due to the globalization and financial crisis of 2007. And they hope that someone like Trump, who claims to be fighting for the interests of the little guy against the government, can help them. Or perhaps you realize that all Trump voters are lovers of red. Or perhaps you watch one of these interviews with Trump supporters and start wondering if Trump was elected because people are just kind of not so smart anymore. And then, and this is Popper's idea, science finds out the best explanation by trying to prove these possible explanations wrong. Yes, that's right. So science is simply coming up with possible explanations to our questions and then testing them critically against real-world evidence. If you ask Popper, we then find the best explanations by eliminating those that don't work. This is called falsification. It kind of sounds like Popper was a really negative person that you wouldn't want to hang out with if he came up with such a theory. I mean, aren't we trying to find out how things are and not how they are not? The reasons why many people think Popper's idea is actually genius and this is how science should work are a bit complicated. The basic idea is that Popper and others think that based on how most sciences work, we can never actually find out what things are like in general. Say you want to know if all swans are white. All scientists can do is to walk around, find all the swans they can get hold of, and check their color. But can you really conclude that all swans are white? Just because all the swans you have found so far, say you looked at all the swans in London parks, are white? Could there still be black swans out there that you just haven't seen? That's actually very much possible. So we cannot with absolute logical certainty say what things are always like, because there are only so many things we can look at. At least that's the basic idea of Popper's argument. But we don't need to look at all the swans there are and ever have been and will ever be to find out with certainty that not all swans are white. All we need is one black swan. So Popper says, Science should focus on what we can know with certainty, namely, what theories, what models of the world don't work. Scientists check this by testing if a theory's predictions hold up to the evidence in the world. A theory passes such a test if the tested predictions fail to be disproven. Popper suggests that we look at what theories have passed the most tests and failed the fewest. Those theories are the best explanations we have, till we have a better one. And this is all. Science is a pretty straightforward idea of how we get the best understanding of our reality. Theory making, testing, eliminating. Scientists test things with quite difficult methods, either by looking for patterns in a very large number of cases. For example, they could look at data from many countries and check if populists really received more votes after the financial crisis. Or scientists can test by thoroughly examining very few cases and by making generalizations from them. For example, by analyzing the Facebook timelines of Trump voters and see how they themselves explain why they voted for a real estate managing reality show host, and what one can learn from that. Now, political scientists are scientists that make and test theories related to anything in our world that has got to do with how humans arrange their living together, and with the power that this gives some people over other people. So they make theories about states, governments, elections, and much more. The part of political science that we are going to focus on is comparative political science. That is the one that tells you what was so trustworthy about a real estate managing reality show host with spray tan that made people want to trust him with the Affordable Care Act, the prevention of pandemics, and racial sensitivity, when he probably doesn't know what any of those words mean. To give a more general definition, it's a subfield of political science that tries to explain why political things are the way they are by looking at evidence from different countries. But there are obviously many more areas of political science. These days, the American Political Science Association acknowledges over 100 subfields of political science. On this channel, you're going to learn about the theories of political science that Popper would call corroborated. Those that explain the complicated world of politics in the best way, for all we know. Next time we're getting straight down to the nitty-gritty with less cheap Trump bashing, I promise, when we're answering the question, is Hungary a democracy? Did you know that some political scientists would say that Turkey and Hungary are democracies, but that South Africa is not one?